Joining us now to discuss is Martin Gaspar, research analyst at crypto trading platform CrossTower. Welcome, Martin.
Hey, Christine. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. All right. So, Martin, Bitcoin moving off exchanges, is that significant to you?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly saw a slight uptick the last couple of weeks following the May pullback. What I'm really bullish on now is that this has plateaued in the last few days and is in fact declining over the last couple of days now, shortly after we had the news from El Salvador. So I think we're going to see a continuation in the trend of Bitcoin users continuing to buy Bitcoin on exchanges and withdraw them to self-custody. And this, as you said, indicates that they do not plan on selling their Bitcoin anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. Again, there's a lot of bullish sentiment out there with this El Salvador news, but we're not seeing a huge rally above 40,000 forecast or hyped up by many Bitcoiners. Why not?
Yeah, I think right now it seems that the market is in a wait and see mode. There's really no catalysts in the immediate term for traders and investors to look to. We have this overhang in China where it's very unclear of what's going to happen there. We had Inner Mongolia announce some enforcement actions against businesses and miners there. So this has definitely led to some negative sentiment. And now traders are just in a wait and see mode to see whether other regions will follow up with their own enforcement actions there. And as far as catalysts, I think all eyes are on a potential ETF verdict. The SEC has already delayed their decision on the VanEck Bitcoin ETF the other month. And so this is slated to come again by June 17th. So there's a lot of anticipation there on what could happen.
Yes, and if the ETF gets approved, of course, a lot of institutions will have to buy up more Bitcoin to support those ETFs. Another headwind could possibly be over the weekend. We heard from U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen telling Bloomberg that President Joe Biden's $4 trillion spending proposal would be positive for the country, even if it leads to a rise in interest rates, and a rate increase could lessen the appeal of perceived inflation hedges such as Bitcoin. Is that a factor that may be capping gains?
Yeah, I think some investors are waiting to see if inflation really does take off, because the narratives Bitcoin has benefited from in the past year has been the idea that all this money printing is going to actually lead to very high inflation. So far, we've seen inflation pick up with the most recent number around 4%. So this is something investors are keeping a key eye on if it's going to go higher, and if the central banks are going to be comfortable with letting that happen, or if they're going to raise rates as a result. So if inflation does take off, I think it would benefit Bitcoin. If it doesn't, I think investors are going to have to look to other narratives with the cryptocurrency.
Martin, just one last question. What is your outlook on Bitcoin in the next 3 months?
Yeah, I think right now it's going to be range bound for the next few weeks. I think investors are really going to be glued to their seat until we hear from the SEC. But apart from that, I think it's going to trend up in the next few months. As Bitcoiners tend to work with the narrative around how ESG friendly the coin is. We've already seen them step up to the plate and work with miners to get them to be more transparent about their energy resources, whether they're using renewables, and there seems to be a broader push for miners to use renewables. So assuming this kind of push continues, I think we're going to see more investors be brought into the space. We're seeing the amount of wallets using Bitcoin over time. The total number of wallets continues to increase, and now we're seeing the clearing of the mempool. It's also spurring more transactions to be done, or it makes more sense for people to transact in the near term. So I think these are going to benefit Bitcoin's price over the next couple months.